Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Wednesday. How's everyone doing this fine morning? Good morning, Sterling. Redbook numbers came out 6.1 versus prior of 5.4, so Redbook's definitely hanging in there. John, good morning. McRangers, good morning. Patrick, good morning. What else do we have? Good morning, Andrea. I don't understand this one. Japan 40-year bond auction bid to cover ratio is 2.2. Yeah, it's the lowest since July, but that's still a decent ratio. I mean, it's dropping, so there's a little less demand, but I mean, that's still above 2. So that's a decent ratio. I'm not getting that headline. Uh, so, what else we have? Good morning, Jacob. Well, good morning, Royal Palms. Good morning, PMG. All right, we got a bunch of people in the background. Thank you for tuning in. What do we got going on today? Well, interesting stuff. We got Harold tuning in. Good morning, Harold, and Charles. Hello, Charles. So, uh, we don't have much. I mean, we have the Richmond Fed manufacturing, and then we have the Dallas services indices coming out at 10 and 10:30 Eastern time, and then we have the FOMC minutes from the last meeting. Doubt there'll be anything shocking. I think everything's going to depend today on Nvidia earnings after the close. That's what's really going to set the tone. We are in potential double top territory, so we'll have to see about that too. Good morning, Tony. What? GameStop's now buying a. Is any company? Why? Is any company going to like do their own business, or is it just like, hey, let's just buy Bitcoin? Oh boy, this is going to end poorly, I think. All right, but doesn't matter what I think. Let's just see. Let's get to the markets and everything else. So far, today's a very dull opening. Again, we got Nvidia after the close. Mega caps, there's a slight bid in them right now, but a lot of things are very flat. If we refresh this, I mean, technology is up 23 basis points, financial down 14 basis points. So nothing much, no big major movers this morning. Fed Watch still has 2 cuts going in. Fear and greed still solidly in greed mode. Schiller PE back to 36.40. We had like Macy's report this morning. Really nothing. Again, Nvidia after the close in Salesforce, but Nvidia, since based off the market cap, could definitely really affect the markets, either well positively or poorly, depending on what they report and how people react to it. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that, but that's not till after the close. Hey, Christoph, how you doing? So what do we got? We re-entered. We are in potential double top territory. That does not mean this has to end. I'm still watching for the magnet price of this 59.99.75, but I will keep an eye since we have entered potential double top territory. Cycle's still climbing. We're heading into month end on Friday, or last trading day of the month on Friday, and we have weekly cycles at the top. Now, going into this, what would invalidate the potential double top if it gets above 6,052.75? Other than that, also remember we are headed into some major resistance area where we topped out literally from, I mean, if you look at where we started to make the top of November 24, made a little higher in December, higher, up here in January, up there again in February, and we're coming into that same key area if we can get above that 6K. So there's a lot of resistance up there. Other than that, I'm just paying attention to if we did break down and closed below 57, 56, 50, we would be triggering a double top pattern. Is that a major one? No. I mean, it could break us back down to potentially about just above 5,500. It would start doing some technical damage, but it's not a major topping pattern. It's a minor topping pattern. Other than that, heading into the open, I'm paying very close attention. We have a little mini double top here, by the way. a little mini. So pay attention into the open. If it did close below this 59.1850, you could start seeing the bigger pullback or a little mini pullback. But I'm really paying attention to this 5900 area, 5900 to 5905 as key support if we do break down. Remember that little mini double top is against the rotation zone. And you have major support right around this 5900 on any pullback. So that's what's key. Your minor support level going into the open is right in front of that. It's coming in about 59.23 to 59.25. NASDAQ, also potential double top. That's where we sit with that. So it would need a close below 20,727 to trigger. Other than that, if we trade above 21,771, it's not valid anymore. And the magnet price of, we still have the 87.5 just above here at 21,680, which is the magnet price, which even if we got back to that on the NASDAQ, would not invalidate the double. It's just really, you got a harmonic cluster of the reverse harmonics and the 87.5 right there. So that's a very key level that I'll be watching for over the next couple days, unless Nvidia puts a damper on that. So looking at this, you don't have any double top pattern. Minor support is about 21,475. Major support is about 21,420. You don't have a double top in the NASDAQ. It's riding the rotation zone on a bigger pullback area. 21,300 to 21,350 is the very key support area on a bigger pullback. Should something upset the market this morning. Not expecting that, but you got to be prepared both ways. Dow, again, no little mini double top yet. Major support on the Dow is coming in at about 42,200 to 42,220. Other than that, we are not in potential double top territory yet for the Dow. It has to get above 42,541. So that's what's key going right there. Russell, again, there's not going to be a double top here because of this extended thing here. The only thing would be, again, it would be a breakdown if it did close below Friday's lows. Other than that, we are again in the key rollover territory for the Russell. So again, I'm not really paying strong attention to this inverse head and shoulders. I'm really watching the 62.5 harmonic on any continued rally, which is 2189. The VIX back below 20. That's what I was watching for yesterday, into the low consolidation range. I'm going to be looking especially going into the beginning of June for potential VIX bottoming patterns. What else? My moron coworker, your coworkers are moron, huh? Let's buying Bitcoin so the top is coming. It could be very, I don't understand why. I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's not going to end well, a lot of stuff in the crypto space. The DAX just keeps on riding the rotation zone higher. Is the potential double off the table in the DAX? Well, let's find out. Not yet. It has to get above 24,442 to technically be off the table. So, key support level on the DAX is 24K at this point. The yields, a nice 3-day pullback in the bottom of the rotation zone. Watching for a potential buy setup maybe tomorrow. We'll have to see how that is. Other than that, nothing to do. The 30-year yields is back below 5 on this 3-day pullback. So 5 is, again, key resistance. It could not sustain above 5 yesterday. But, they're still very elevated. You see here, I think it's trying to build a higher base up here. But I'll step back if we start closing back below 4.9. That would actually be interesting from yields pulling back. Dollar index is also very interesting. See this, could be a major bottoming pattern on the larger time frames. Not anywhere yet triggering, but I'm going to keep a very close eye on this. We had a %B buy follow through, so I'm just watching for the continued bounce. There's very key resistance at this 99.55 area. It's going to see if we start breaking though below Monday's lows, then it's still technically a potential larger double bottom, but I'm not looking for any short trades in here right now, the dollar short, because there's a very strong base being built. It needs to do some major breakdowns before that changes. Crude, we still do have a potential confirmed, I should call it a confirmed double top, but not triggered. And based off the count rules, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's confirmed though, so you don't have to worry about how far this extends. So even if this extends 7 bars, it can still roll over. Now, if it rotates back up, and gets back above 62.80 on a closing basis, it's going to be pretty much off the table. It has to rally a bit more, but I'd be taking it off the table at that point. Gold, dark screen, 4-hour head and shoulders. 4-hour head and shoulders. Little sloppy. I'd be watching for the breakdown again. Below 32.87 on a closing basis. But I would not be personally aggressively shorting that. It's not technically invalidated, but it will be pretty soon. It will be. This failed breakdown pattern is trying to build a pretty strong base here. So personally, if you're going to try to short that, I'd manage it very closely because gold has not been able to do any breakdown. Copper, was watching for it to hold the breakout level, and it has not yet. It's back into consolidation. So back to sitting on hands in copper. Euro, nothing to talk about there right now. Spiders also potential double top territory. Slight gap up today, so on any pullback, yesterday's close is key. 591.15. Other than that, the trigger of the potential double top would be a close back below 575.60. The invalidation point is above 653 cents. Remember, 80 to the upside. So the Qs also potential double top. Now this one's weaker because it's extended here to the left. But we will keep an eye on it. It's invalidated if it gets above 527.36. The magnet price for the 87.5 is still 523.51. The trigger point for the sloppy double would be a close below 505.58. Since we've been talking Bitcoin, there is no real news on the Bitcoin. It does have a sort of lopsided double here. Not the strongest pattern, but why did I click on the wrong thing? There we go. Why isn't that doubling for me? Huh. Template, double. Great. Huh. I don't know why that's not working. There it goes. It's just slow. So that's the only minor pullback pattern right there. Other than that, it's not the strongest pattern either. It's against the daily rotation zone, so any pullback, my key level I'm watching is 105.600. Hey, Mark, how you doing? Good morning to you. What else? Take a look at ANF. Skinny jeans must be back in style. Abercrombie & Fitch is gapping up 27.28 after its earnings announcement this morning. Whoa. That's a pretty big surprise in upside revenue. So I wonder where the key Huh. That's sort of interesting. Thank you for pointing that out, Sterling. I hadn't looked at Abercrombie Fitch, but that's a pretty decent beat. So this might be something to keep an eye on any pullbacks for continuing long plays, especially with up to this 115 area. So don't have anything off this gap up, but it's something that I'd be keeping an eye on any pullbacks over the next few days. What else? 4-hour double bottom on gold. Four-hour double bottom. Let's take a look at the 1 hour. That's a channeling double. I mean, if you want to use the targets, it's a channeling double that's triggered, but that's definitely turned into a channeling double. Right there. So, the key areas, I mean, if you want to use those for upside targets, again, gold is in an interesting position now. I'm being very patient on this, but 330, 3330, 3338, 3346 are the upside targets. And it would just take you virtually back to just shy of Friday's highs and Sunday, Monday's gap open reversal. So no, I didn't. I'll have to double check. I will have to double check, Jake. You're welcome, Mark. Coco, how you doing, buddy? Tesla chart is more bad than Bitcoin chart. Tesla had horrible numbers coming out, but again, it's the worse the news for Tesla, the more it gets bought. I'm still watching for a key rollover thing up to 385. If it closes above 385, I'll stop watching for a short-term rollover play. Other than that, I mean, there's nothing to talk about. Let's look at Nvidia going into the close. This is not a double. This is turned into a minor triple. But again, it's all going to depend on the numbers. Technically, we still have a magnet price of 144.82. On any beat, that's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting if it does beat. So that's really all I have. I've got to go deal with some workmen here before the open, so we're going to keep this one a little shorter. I'm watching for potentially a choppier day today, and we're going to have to see what the administration headlines are out this morning because there's not much else going on until we get the FOMC minutes, but I don't think there's going to be much of a shock there, so it's all going to depend on Nvidia after the close to define the end of the week. Also remember, we can't just go to sleep. Even if Nvidia, holds in there, we can't just go to sleep because tomorrow we have the GDP numbers, the second estimate for Q1 jobless claims, and the PCE numbers, second estimate for Q1, and then Friday we have the April PCE numbers just for April and consumer sentiment to final numbers. So there's no going to sleep after Nvidia, and we have month-end window dressing on Friday because Monday starts the first trading day of June. So keep all that in mind going into the end of the week, and I shall talk to everyone later. Bye for now.